some have described the president as, because I'm wondering which president are you describing, because some have described the president as a very sophisticated politician. In fact, that he is perhaps the most strategic or sophisticated politician in our history, you know. Others say no, he's running the country through a cabal, just like you said now, through a cabal. And if I was, they don't have regard for institutions. They do whatever they want to do, you know. They can run 3 or 4 budgets concurrently, you know, and so on and so forth. Which is it, in your view?
The president, if you said he's the most sophisticated, maybe I can concede that to you, because I'm a Marxist scholar. And I will tell you, you have to compare his life with that of Chairman Mao Zedong. Chairman Mao Zedong, who led the long march that produced Chinese civilization, ended up very, very terrible. But the Chinese decided to cut his terminal edges, which were an embarrassment and a negation of all his contribution, to consign it to the dustbin. Maybe that may be what is playing out with President Bola Tinubu. Of course, you will concede to him that he built up young people who he has come all the way with them. But most of these young people have actually received the master stroke of use and done. So they are only invited anytime they have a contribution to make to the stepping stone, the stepping step of Bola Tinubu. So you run down all those who had been with him, you cannot identify one that is still with him, even including the National Secretary of African Democratic Congress, who is the last disciple, the longest and the last disciple who had departed. Others, you will find their names in the footnote. So that is the type of a person. So whatever sophistication was a selfish and a greedy ambition, personal ambition, which he needed men of reputable integrity, credible character to help him lay the foundation. So he has manifested now who actually he is.
But some would argue that you have Mr. Olawale Edo, who was his finance commissioner, who is the minister for finance. He's still a holdover in this administration. Yemi Cardoso was the commissioner for commerce and something, and then he's CBN governor. You know, I could consider reading out names for you. What do you say about that? I mean, that he loves to build people and he is loyal to those he build. How do you argue?
I was thinking you were going to run the list beyond 2. But as
I don't want to waste time.
No, it's not an issue of time. Okay. You have even exhausted the list because there are more under the bus than those standing. So the last casualty is the IGP, who now has also been thrown, and you may not hear about him again. Maybe the next time he will join those that are in detention, because that is how the president operates. But the summary of the personality of President Bola Tinubu is that he is a Machiavellian. The Machiavellian philosophy presupposes that the prince should destroy first those who make the prince, because it is only them that had the capacity to bring him down or destroy him. So Tinubu is a Machiavellian. The moment you hold the ladder for him and he is comfortable that he is stable, the next leg will hit your head and you will go down. And of course, you need another airtime for us to discuss El-Rufai how he single-handedly from the north started his campaign with rotational presidency. Power must go to the south. Then calibrated into the issue of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, where he single-handedly mobilized 5 governors, including the then chairman of Northern Governors Forum, Barrister Solomon Dalung, to go and confront Buhari. And Buhari told them, go and elect whosoever you want. He came back, rallied around them, rallied around Northern governors, even though the arms were agreed so that they can be very slippery to help us succeed. At the end of the day, El-Rufai knew himself very well. He knew the political risks ahead. And he opted not to even participate in politics. He wanted to retire, go back to farming and live a private life. But because the Machiavellian instinct in Tinubu could not allow the rivalry of 2 princes. Because the Machiavellian theory is to the effect that there can never be 2 princes within the same territory. So it rivaled the existence of 2 princes. So he went to Kaduna, smoke him out, cajole him, hook him, use him round, and he was the megaphone of the prince. Even when they went to Chatham House, one of the notorious questions fired, it was only El-Rufai who could answer it. But the prince was gathering those performances against him. And ultimately, he appointed him, and there were petitions all over. And most of these the petitions were induced within the power base. And at the end of the day, he was dismantled and brought down, thrown under the bus. As he was rolling to survive under the bus, it appears he was crying very loud. And people were listening. Emotions were being built. And they have to go immediately for him, drag him out, and make sure that they seal his mouth, throw him into the dungeon. So, that is a Machiavellian for you. The prince.
Brilliant. You know, you've taken us into an excursion into the 48 laws of power.
Yes.
And the second law is do not outshine, the master.
Yes.
So it will appear, because Malam Nasir El-Rufai is a very brilliant man. I admire him for his intellect. But it will appear he didn't read that, or maybe when he read that book, he glossed over it. He didn't take the lesson to heart. Because if he did, he would know some arguments is that during the primaries of the APC, there were several outstanding aspirants. There was a sitting vice president who, in my considered opinion, just mine, I may be wrong, towered above every other aspirant in the 2022 APC primaries. Yemi Oshibajo, the vice president. They left him and went for, the president now. And I remember Malam Nasir El-Rufai said openly that it's because he's a Muslim. Because, what he did in Kaduna, he wants to repeat at the federal. But he's gotten the reward now. How do you respond to that?
For Malam El-Rufai is a very brilliant and intelligent person. But such people, you go and then read similar personalities with such charisma. They are like vehicles without brake. So if they are running down the steep, of course, it is eminent that a crash is part of that trip. That's how I can summarize what has happened to El-Rufai. But as it stands today, I am sympathetic to El-Rufai, even though I'm not his fan. But what they are now doing to him, I'm sympathetic, and I'm in him, I'm with him. Because when Tinubu would have finished with the likes of El-Rufai, who helped him to power, he will be tempted to reach out to those of us who fought him to power, fought against him to power. So there must be a rallying point now around El-Rufai, not only to rescue and save him, but to save other descending voices. Because, you see, Tinubu, the only thing Tinubu feared in his life is competition. And that was why in 2023, Bully Vance, which my friend Boala criticized, now he went to
Vance,
carry money. Then he went to London and he disgraced himself by denying. Of course, I didn't expect Mehdi Hassan to have gotten the answer. How will you expect somebody who has honey in the mouth and you want him to blow fire out? It will not work. So, Tinubu doesn't like competition. Where he is confronting competition, he will deploy all resources available to step in the gap. He has played the trump card in 2023. Now, money will not save him in 2027. Because if money can save the people, Jonathan would have been saved in 2015. He came up now with the theory of cajoling, buying, and hooking the governors into one political party. If one political party were to serve the people, Abacha would have been a president and would have not even been in this republic with people like them. So, either way Tinubu goes, he is running against high risks. But in as far as he's traveling to France, having handshake with the king, helping him to walk, even introducing him into a royal carriage, all those ones will not solve 2021 problem.
So this Machiavellian strategy is not peculiar to the APC.
No, we're learning from them.
Because this strategy is called smoke screen.
Yeah.
So it's a smoke screen strategy.
All of us are learning from them.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. You mentioned Nasir El-Rufai earlier. He has been in detention now for maybe 1 month plus. What effort is the ADC and the leadership, what effort are you making? Because I accuse Malam Bolaji Abdullahi of ineffectiveness. I don't want to use the word incompetence, completely, no presence, no showing. Malam El-Rufai alone was doing so much work for opposition while he was free. Everyone is quiet. This jamboree that went on in the UK in the last few days, I could imagine what would have happened if El-Rufai were to be out. What effort is your party, is your friend, what effort are you guys making to speak for him, to get him released? Because whatever offenses he's been accused to have committed, they are bailable offenses.
Well, El-Rufai was arrested before ICPC is looking for the offense. The current DG of
the DSS
is one person that I have 101% respect for him.
Okay.
He's a Nigerian, he's a patriotic Nigerian. He's a public servant that has served selflessly, very, very experienced and intelligent. But I don't know how he allowed his men, maybe enemies or his opponent within the system, did this. Because I know that if he knew this, he wouldn't allow it. The DSS went and filed a charge before interrogating El-Rufai. It's never gone anywhere. You cannot just go and charge somebody before you will come and investigate him. Investigation that leads to charge. That was what the DSS did. I don't want to attack them because of the respect I have for them. So I kept quiet. I didn't even write anything about it. Because this is somebody that I protect his integrity with everything I have. For I've monitored his growth and development. And he's a very fine professional. Very honest Nigerian. Very, very honest Nigerian. He is our type. except that he's encumbered by the professional ethics of his job. But it's our type. He said things the way they are and follow what is right. But he allowed this to happen. And they threw banana peel because DSS could not have gone to file a charge without investigating El-Rufai. Because you have to investigate before you file. That charge that they filed, they will not be able to establish. They will not. Because it will require, if you are going to use admission, then you have to deal with the principle of self-indictment. Also, he indicted himself for you to use it against him. It's a very cumbersome process. They will not succeed. It was supposed to be a political charge, but it was also filed out of gross error. So, for them, that one, the director should not allow them to minus.
My question, comrade, is that what are you doing to secure his release?
You see, like I said,
using legal means.
Very, very good. The Court of Appeal had entered a judgment against arresting El-Rufai before shopping for offense. ICPC arrest before they are shopping. In fact, ICPC embarrassed me. If it was possible to change my citizenship, I would have done it on that day. Went to El-Rufai's house and they picked all these old Nokia phones, 9810, 3310, and even this old Gabon phone, and displayed them as instrument for wiretapping. How must we be embarrassed at that level?
Are you saying they don't know what wiretapping instrument looks like, equipment looks like?
No, because there is nothing for them to show. So they just have to look for something to present to Nigerians. Look at what they did in the case of Malami.
That's
Malami. If you see the armory with AK-47 that was paraded as what was found in Malami's house, even myself was beginning to wonder what was he going to do with that. But when I went and investigated, it was a pump action shotgun which the son has with a license that was picked in the son's house. But you can see the story they created. Malami is a sponsor of terrorism, and just because they think by doing so they will break them down. But the like of Malami and El-Rufai, what they are doing, they are giving them injection of resistance.